Yes, you're watching the SA Sports Show. Softball, of course, they've been a bit of a hiatus, getting ready to come back out of it. So we thought we'd better find out what's going on. So we thought we'd go to the number one softball commentator here in Australia, James Harris, of course, joins us, and Stephanie Trzcinski.
Close enough. Pretty
close enough. Australian pitcher, state player, plays here with West Torrens. Spent a bit of time in California, Berkeley too, just chatting with her off air. So I want to have a chat about that. Let's start with you, Steph. 18 years of age, you go to California, Berkeley, 4-year scholarship over there. How was it?
Yeah, it was awesome. Absolutely experience where I did a lot of growing up really quickly, but absolutely loved it. Wouldn't trade it for the world.
How does that happen? How do you get a scholarship into America?
So I was lucky enough all through high school to be involved in the junior Australian softball teams, which involved a lot of local travel, but also I went to America and Canada a couple times playing on the junior team. And a lot of the American college scouts at the moment are looking offshore outside of the country to find the best talent for their school or the best match for their school, I suppose. And so I was exposed to a lot of scouts, and Softball Australia helped me out. They had some contacts along the way, and yeah.
So how did you pick California, Berkeley?
Pretty easy. They were probably the best school and academic combo that there is. In terms of there's some schools out there that are really good at the sport, but the academics not so established, whereas Cal is probably the one university that's incredible athletics and incredible academics as well.
All right, I can see that you're really committed, but I played through Berkeley a few times and they party pretty well there too. I didn't party, but I saw how they. But they do have a great college atmosphere, don't they? They're able to combine the academics, the sport, and some social side. It's a great climate. So I'd imagine going. You talked about growing up really quickly, but going from Australia to Berkeley would not have been a great adjustment to lifestyle, would it?
I don't know. I think because I had softball, I was always so dedicated. I knew exactly what I was doing. It really sort of kept me focused on my goals and what I was there to do.
James, it's going to be an interesting year for softball coming out of COVID. Do you think it's going to be better for it or about the same?
Hopefully at least the same.
Yep.
I think we were very lucky. We only lost the last couple of weeks of our season, which were finals, which was a little disappointing to end the season with a bit of an empty feeling. But hopefully with any of the restrictions that have been put in place, we're ready to go back now, which is terrific for all our clubs and grassroots. Leading into national championships, there might be a bit of a risk, but we're hopeful for a start come the first weekend of October.
Some good news for softball, and I spoke with Lindy Radigan this morning, who's been a softball guru, if you like, for many, many years. I used to remember talking to Lindy back at the 5AA days with Hooksy and KG, and she's still around the place, which is quite amazing. But she spoke to me about SA drawing or getting a few national championships, getting a few big events here, which is very, very rare. It doesn't happen a lot. Sydney and the other tend to get all the big games. But we've actually got a few coming to SA.
Yeah, 7 national championships over the next 3 years, including 3 this summer. We'll host the under-23 women's for the first time in December. Then in January, we'll host the Open men's and under-14 boys in a combined event. And that'll lead up to 2023 when we finally get the Gilly Shield, the Open women's back in Adelaide, first time since 2005.
Why have we got them? Why did SA draw? Because one of the other things that I heard was that we struggle to get volunteers for softball. It's a tough gig to get people, and that's one of the reasons why we haven't had national championships or anything like that here in SA. But why did we win these 7?
Well, you mentioned Lindy Radigan before. She's one of our greatest volunteers. She was the Chairman's Award winner just recently for her work as the State Coordinator of Scoring. She's developed a scoring program that will enable us to have the necessary officials to officiate the national championships, as well as great key volunteers for around the diamond, so grounds work as well as off diamond as well. And we've got a great team of staff at the Softball SA office. We've won the last 2 Sport SA Community Event of the Year awards for events that we've run. So, and we've also got a terrific live streaming service as well, which is actually getting softball out into the public eye, not just locally, nationally, but internationally as well. We've had 4 million viewers for our live streaming service, and we're so grateful to have it.
It's always been tough to draw men to play softball, but there's a fast pitch now that on the flip side of that, there's also been people like yourself who've been involved in softball since a very young age as a handy player yourself. But it's tough now to get people to play the game because of especially girls I think now as well, because soccer, Aussie rules footy now, girls are going everywhere. Yeah. So you've got a fight on your hands.
Yeah, we've got some tremendous athletes that have skipped codes. A couple of them, Georgia Bevan was an AFLW premiership player with the Crows in the inaugural season, has come back to softball in the last couple of years, just to have a game because she loves the sport. There's, you mentioned the men's before, we got the lowest men's membership, percentage membership in the country, but worldwide you have 60,000 people playing in New Zealand, Texas, men playing, right, and then you go to North America and there's pro leagues. Japan's got a pro league, and Europe. It's all over Europe as well. It's just not heard of because it's not one of those tier 1 sports. But there's tremendous opportunities if you're willing to travel and you want to travel, and that's something that I love about our sport is the tremendous opportunities. Steph got a 4-year deal at college, and then she's played in Europe. She's played in the States, and for myself, I've been lucky to travel to play as well. So it's a great sport to branch out.
Yeah, there's one of the great things about international sport that footy can't offer, even though we've seen a lot of players drag to it. Eventually they'll go back. That's the part. So 2023, it's not that far away when you think about it. For you to have the Australian Championships here, is that something that's on your radar? I know you've got your Australian commitments and state commitments. Is 2023 somewhere in the back of your mind going, it'd be nice to play at home?
Yeah, absolutely. I've only played one or two championships at home, so I think playing at home would be absolutely incredible. In the last Australian Championships we played at home, we actually won. South Australia won, so that was a pretty big deal for us. Okay,
we'll make a note of that, so there's no pressure on Steph to pitch well there in 23. Hey,
player of the grand final, and she was our best pitcher.
Australian commitments, what's coming up for you?
It's a long. I'm probably looking long term at the moment and trying to. I had my debut this year, which was really awesome, but definitely trying to keep myself fit and healthy. And we've got a World Championships coming up after, obviously, the Olympics next year. So.
All right. Well,
James, just before we go.
Yes.
About to get married.
October.
And your soon-to-be wife is an Australian player as well, so you keep it in the family. Good luck with that.
Thank you. Teammates with Steph, both at club, state, and national. So. Very close.
Steph's under a fair bit of pressure, isn't she? A lot of pressure. Keep the marriage together, pitch well in 2023. You've got to come back for a lot of talks, I'll tell you right now. Hey, really appreciate you coming in, guys. I know it's a busy schedule. Stay with us. Still plenty to come.